Yeah. Their feet, their heads.
Oh, yeah, thanks a lot. I remember that picture. That was so funny.
Oh.
All right, 10 seconds. Good evening, everyone. This is the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Wednesday, December 26th. It is 7 p.m. We're at the Governmental Center on 400 Boardman. We will begin the meeting. Call to order. If you have a cell phone, if you could put it on silent or vibrate, we would much appreciate that. And we will start the meeting with the opening ceremonies. We will start with the invocation and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll also have a moment of silence as well before the invocation. And we will have Commissioner Henschel lead us in those ceremonies.
Thank you. Please join me in a moment of silence for the father of Commissioner Felice, who passed away recently. Thank you. Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight and do the work of the people. We just ask that you will be with the families who've suffered so much loss this past month in the mindless violence around our country. Just pray that your light will shine through the lives of those families during their time of mourning when they're searching for answers. Pray that you'll be with our servicemen and women and our service, our people in fire service and the ambulance service around this country, that in this coming year you would give them protection and guidance as they work to save the lives and make us safe in our communities. Pray that you'll be with the elected officials coming in this coming year, that you will give us wisdom and just always be the guiding light to them. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Henschel. We'll have the roll call attendance, please, from the clerk.
Commissioner Gilman?
Here.
Henschel?
Yes.
Lemko?
Yes.
Richardson?
Here.
Thomas?
Here.
Fleece?
Present.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Inman?
Yes.
And Max Bauer is excused.
Okay. Next item is the approval of minutes. We'd like to separate those two because on your table you have a set of amended minutes for the November 28, 2012. I'm not sure what the difference is, if it's a typo or what, but we have amended minutes. So we'll start with the November 19th, 2012 special session minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the November 19th special session minutes.
Moved by Commissioner Gilman, seconded by Commissioner Henschel to approve the November 19th, 2012 minutes. Anybody need to abstain? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Now we have the amended minutes that are on your desk.
Motion to approve the November 28th minutes.
Support.
All right, moved by Commissioner Lundquist, seconded by Commissioner Thomas to approve the minutes that are presented on our desk as amended minutes. Anybody need to abstain on that one? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes.
I believe the change was the 2%.
Hear that? Pardon me?
I believe the change was the listing of the 2%.
All right. Okay. And we also have that as a replacement on your desk as well for the consent calendar. This is the next is the we have two public comments sections in our agenda. First is the next one coming up. And we also have one at the end of the meeting. And if you are here for a particular topic, if you would like to speak during that topic rather than during public comment, we would be more than happy to accommodate you, but you need to get our attention and let us know you wish to speak regarding that matter and get with the clerk. So we will read the rules for public comment.
Any person shall be permitted to address a meeting of the Board of Commissioners which is required to be open to the public under the provision of the Michigan Open Meetings Act. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following board rules and procedures. Any person wishing to address the board shall state his or her name and address. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, excluding time needed to answer commissioners' questions, if any. The chairperson shall control the amount of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. The chairperson may, at his or her discretion, extend the amount of time any person is allowed to speak. Public comment will be solicited during the 2 public comment periods noted in Rule 5.4, Orders of Business. However, public comment will generally be received at any time during the meeting regarding a specific topic currently under discussion by the board. Members of the public wishing to comment should raise their hand or pass a note to the clerk in order to be recognized and shall not address the board until called upon by the chairperson.
Okay, you've heard the rules regarding public comment. Does any member of the public wish to speak at this time? And come on up, state your name and address for us if you could. Welcome.
Good evening, I'm Denny Scrodato, 422 East State Street, and I just wanted to come this evening to thank Commissioner Richardson for his service to this community for the past 4 years, most especially his professionalism, his patience, explaining things to people like me, and his wisdom. He will be missed by many, many, many people, and I can assure you, though, Ross, there is life after elected office. Thank you very much for your service to this community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well deserved, Ross, and I'm sure all of us feel the same ways as well. Next, public comment.
Hi, Mary Jean McClin, 512 West 8th Street. And I, too, would like to say thank you to my friend and County Commissioner Ross Richardson. I so appreciate his patience, his wisdom. I'm saying the same words again, but that is what describes him. I also like to thank him for not always agreeing with me and explaining things to me, and that I feel is a very important part of an elected official, whether it's what I wanted to hear or didn't want to hear. So again, Ross, thank you so much. I appreciate you and everything you've done for the county.
All right, thank you so much for coming this evening. Anyone else wish to speak under public comment? Yes, Dan, come on up.
Good evening. Elizabeth Webster, 926 Avenue D. I'm here to say thank you to Jason Gilman for his service on the commission. I've learned a lot through his being here. I've watched the meetings every Wednesday night, and I've become more involved in what's going on in the county because of it. And I just want to thank him for being active and helpful, honest, and have integrity. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you so much for coming. Anyone else wish to speak under public comment at this time? Glenn?
Glenn Lyle, 4257 Holiday Road. I was here for 2 reasons. I was going to wait on this one, but I also would like to thank Commissioner Gilman, Henschel, Richardson, and Fleece. Even though we always don't agree, at the end of the day, we're all there trying to do what's right for the public. And having sat on the same side, I don't think a lot of people realize what it takes to be in public office. And I would just like to thank all of you and wish you well. Hopefully we'll be working again together down the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
Did
Appreciate
you
it.
notice he didn't thank the rest of us, just those?
I think he was thanking the outgoing commissioner.
Your work is still going.
We still have a lot of work to do. Okay, anyone else wish to speak for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will close public comment. We will now move on to the approve of the agenda, and before I seek a motion, I just want to give the board just some basic information. The recommendation for Dave Benda's contract has been moved from the consent calendar to unfinished business. and Bob Cooney would like to speak to some particular state laws that apply to county administrator contracts that require some additional changes that we need to be advised of, among other things. So we will move that to, that was purposely placed under unfinished business. We need to replace page 73. That is the list of the 2% grants for the tribal without the Planned Parenthood, which was in our original packet. That is not on this sheet, and we need to replace that resolution with this sheet for page 73. And also, there is a memo on your desk from Dean Bott, dated December 26th, and he has some budget adjustment items he wishes us to consider, and those would be on top of the budget, in addition to the budget adjustments that were approved in committee at Ways and Means on page 69, item number 26. Is that correct, Dean?
Well, they're also listed under the administrator's report as item A.
All right, okay, so that's what we will place this particular item under the administrator's report. Okay, that should cover the agenda. If we need a motion to approve the agenda.
The only thing I'd like to do is make sure that I reserve 3 or 4 minutes at the end of the presentations for a small tribute.
Okay,
So,
all right. Write that down. Very good. Okay, now we need a motion to approve the agenda as presented or as amended.
Motion to approve the agenda is presented.
Second. Okay.
With the amendments.
All right, moved by Commissioner Wheelock, seconded by Commissioner Henschel, to approve the agenda as discussed and changed, as just discussed and changed. Any discussion items? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. We have an agenda. Now we move on to special orders of business, and it is, as I've explained to the board previously, the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners has a long-standing history, farther back than 20 years that I'm aware of, that we always acknowledge the leadership and dedication and the tireless efforts that it does take to be an elected official in here in Grand Traverse County and those serving on this board. And we have some recognition plaques we would like to give out to elected officials, thanking them for their years of service for Grand Traverse County. And I'm a big supporter of recognition, and I want to make sure for those folks that have served the public, took the time away from their families, their friends, an actual cost of campaigning and coming to meetings, that they're duly recognized for their public service and their dedication to the public. So with that, we have, I'm going to start out with the countywide elected officials. We have 3. As you know, we already gave a plaque to Bill Rokas, who had retired earlier as county treasurer. Now we would like to call on Judge David Stowe, if he could come up, please. And bear with me. Put this in order. And we have an official photographer. And for the sake of the audience, let me read this, because we don't have a traveling microphone. This plaque, which has an emblem of Grand Traverse County on it, says, "In recognition of your leadership and dedication for 12 years of service, David L. Stowe, Probate Court Judge, 2001 through 2012, presented by the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners on this date, December 26, 2012. So, Judge Stowe, thank you so much for your dedication and public service to Grand Traverse County.
thank you all for the trust and support that you've given our court the last 12 years, and without it, we could not have accomplished and would not be accomplishing what's going on now in the county. So thank you very much, and certainly the judge-elect most definitely needs your support. We've got a tremendous community here and selfless volunteers that make it all happen this year. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. For those of you who were not able to attend Judge Stowe's retirement party a couple weeks ago, it was a fabulous and packed celebration.
Okay. The two other elected officials we want to recognize were unable to make the meeting tonight, so we will get this plaque to them hopefully sometime tomorrow. And that would be retiring prosecuting attorney Alan Schneider and retiring county clerk Linda Colburn. And of course, they have long-standing history with Grand Traverse County, and we want to publicly have the minutes served that we have a plaque and dedication for their service leadership to Grand Traverse County. They will be getting those tomorrow presented to their office. Now we will move on to county commissioners, and we have 4 that will be moving on from the Board of Commissioners, and we want to personally thank those commissioners, and I'll list them, for their time, dedication, and service, and the enormous amount of effort it takes to be a county commissioner, going to the township meetings, our standing committees, and all the other committees and boards that we serve on behalf of the community. It's just an enormous time commitment, and everyone in this room and everyone in the audience should be proud of the service that each one of these individuals gave Grand Traverse County. We always, as you know, we always don't agree on particular viewpoints, but in the end, there was a consensus made by all the elected officials sitting on this board. We felt that the consensus was the best for the public policy of the board, and they deserve really high recognition this evening for their years of service on this Board of Commissioners. And we will start with Commissioner Larry Fleece, who is the Vice Chairman of the 2011-2012 Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Fleece, I have this plaque for you. Hopefully you will take this to your home or office and hang it proud. In recognition of your leadership and dedication, Larry B. Fleece, County Commissioner, 2007-2012, presented to you by the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners dated tonight, December 27, 2012. Thank you so much for your help. You're welcome to attend the board.
Well, he's got a microphone right in front of him.
Okay.
So he's got a microphone right in front of him.
I've enjoyed my tenure with the board, and I'm going to miss it. I'll really miss the disagreement with some of my fellow commissioners. But you know, you didn't change the lock on the door, so I'll still be here for public comment, and if I think you're in the wrong pew, I'll be addressing that. But I'd like to thank my constituency out there for voting me in for the last 3 terms, 6 years. And tomorrow I take the oath of office for trustee in Blair Township. And again, I'll miss you all, including even Mr. Benda, being he's related by marriage. And Mr. Cooney and Dean Bott, thank you for the excellent job, and Jen Seaman that you've done in the past for the board.
I also would like to acknowledge Commissioner Fleece's leadership on the board during the 2011-2012. I recommended the board ratify that Commissioner Fleece not only be the vice chairman of this County Board of Commissioners, but he served as chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, which is the Finance Committee and the committee responsible for the financial affairs of the county. And he did just an outstanding job in that role, working with me as chairman, so thank you very much, Commissioner Fleets.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Commissioner Ross Richardson. Ross, if you can come forward. Ross, I'm really pleased that you had some folks here tonight that came here to support you and say nice things about you, and we all feel the same way about you. Ross, I would like to let everyone know Ross was selected for 2011-2012 as the chairman of the Resource Management Administration Committee, which is one of the more high-profile standing committees of the county. He did a wonderful job managing the meetings and managing the issues that dealt with resource management and all the administrative issues in the administration office that the commissioners deal with on a day-to-day basis. And Ross was known as a guy that did his homework, and he always had kind of a dry sense of humor, and he was just a pleasure to work with, and he was missed. Ross, in recognition of your leadership and dedication, Ross Richardson, County Commissioner, 2009-2012, presented by the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners, dated today, December 26, 2012. Thank you for your leadership and dedication to the county. And of course, you'd like to say something, you can say something.
Yeah, I'll say it. Now that Larry started the process here, you know. I've enjoyed my 4 years here. I've learned a lot. Came in pretty green, but thanks to a great staff and, quite frankly, great fellow commissioners, I've learned a lot about how county government works, and hopefully I've made some small contribution. It seems like a really minor thing, but probably one of the things I'm most proud of is the fact that we now have all of our meetings on Wednesday night, accessible to the public and accessible to people who want to watch on TV. So hopefully that will continue after I'm gone. I have mixed feelings about leaving. On the one hand, I'll miss it. On the other hand, I don't think I'll miss all the meetings or the length of some of the meetings that go on, but it's always something stimulating and interesting going on. I wish the new commission well, and hope they keep on being able to work and resolve some of the issues that still face the county. So thanks everybody, and of course thanks for my constituents for electing me twice. Thanks.
Next, I'd like to ask Commissioner Rob Henschel to come on up. I'd like to recognize Commissioner Henschel for his leadership and dedication to the county. He came in kind of fresh and green, and we took him under our wing and worked with him. And when it came to giving assignments at the first of the year, your first meeting as a county commissioner, well, we had just a few issues that all the senior county commissioners, they didn't want all the hard meetings and all the long drives and tough assignments, so they said, well, maybe Rob might be interested in it. And Rob took it on and actually was very effective in a number of boards and commissions that made substantial differences in our relationship with different boards and commissions. He did a great job. He did a lot of time and effort. I mean, Rob was the kind of guy that would just get up and go to all the department heads and visit with them and talk with them and learn about what they do in their department. And he took this job seriously. He actually took the time and effort to go out and find all the facts and to attend all the meetings and to attend all the department head areas where he can learn more about the county. So he was very well informed for a first-term county commissioner. He did a great job. Rob, in recognition of your leadership and dedication, Rob Henschel, County Commissioner 2011-2012. I also need to mention that Rob took on the assignment of clearing all the accounts here at the county. We meet twice a month, and we clear all the checks and accounts and finance of the board, and Rob took on that responsibility. It's an extensive process that you've gone through for. So, Rob, thank you on behalf of the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners dated December 26, 2012. Thank you for your leadership. Say a few words.
Yes.
And if you have family, you're welcome to come on up and get a picture. And if we've missed a family, please come on up and we'll get the commissioner back up.
Okay, the winner of the leg.
There we go.
Ready?
Cheese.
It's a good picture.
That's a good picture.
All right, that was exciting.
Yeah, I'll say a couple things.
Okay.
First, I want to thank the residents of East Bay Township that elected me by 98% my first election. I was unopposed, so 2% didn't like me even then. But anyways, it's a wonderful experience being a county commissioner. But as you can see, I got a lot better looking people to go spend time with. I've really enjoyed my time here. I recommended, I was talking to a young gal, probably in her early 20s, and just telling her, it's a great thing being a county commissioner, and I recommend it to anybody. And I really, she was surprised I said that, but I really do. I joke that, half the people on this board are twice my age, but it's pretty close to that. But even, anybody could make a difference, and I really encourage, anybody to step up and get involved in your community. And there's lots of boards and committees and commissions that maybe not quite such a time sink as being a commissioner that just really takes a big, huge commitment. But there's lots of things to get involved with, and I really encourage anyone in the community to get involved. There's lots of work to do, lots of good things that you can have an impact on.
Thank you, Rob. Next, I'd ask Commissioner Jason Gilman if he could come on up. He actually wore ties. Jason, you're probably the most energetic person I've ever met in my entire life.
Bring food.
It was chocolate. He said, bring lots of chocolate, bring food. And here's a gentleman that's got a full-time business, does a full-time job as a county commissioner, and he's, for a lot of people that don't know, he blogs, and he's probably one of the top nationally recognized bloggers in the country in terms of political viewpoints. And when I first met Jason, I thought, you remind me of so many people that are out there today with very strong political opinions that are on the radio and TV today. You're a wasted talent. You should be somewhere nationally. And he kind of chuckled. But he brought a different perspective to the board, and we all come from different walks of life, different viewpoints. He was the kind of commissioner that if he had a viewpoint he felt strongly about, he would dig down and he would fight it right to the end. And you have to give somebody with those kind of commitments a lot of respect. And so I recognize you today in recognition for your service as a Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners, for your leadership and dedication. Jason Gilman, County Commissioner 2011-2012. Presented by the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners, dated this date, December 26, 2012. Thank you so much for your dedication and leadership to the county. Jason has his family here, so we
I have a big family here right now. In fact, if I could, get all my family up here. Get them all up here. This is... Can we do this? Got us all in here?
Everyone look at the camera.
Yeah, 1, 2.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, in fact, is this the last one then?
Yes, because Commissioner Maitland is not here, so I just want to, for the record, acknowledge Commissioner Jim Maitland, who spent 12 years on the Grand Traverse County Road Commission, and we will be delivering a plaque to him sometime tomorrow as well. So Commissioner Gilman has asked for a few minutes after special presentations for a few minutes to address the Board of Commissioners.
Well, hopefully the line works on this. I just wanted to take a moment to say how absolutely pleased I've been with being able to work with this group of commissioners, both the ones sticking around and the ones going. I have learned an incredible amount. The experience I've had has really opened my eyes to how much of an effect this body has on our community, and not just our community, but our state. And frankly, we have, as a body, even had an effect on the nation in some ways. It's very important for people to understand, and I absolutely follow up with the recommendations of the other commissioners who suggest that that people be involved. It's a wonderful thing. The experiences we have. One of those experiences, one particularly memorable one, a topic prompted a small tribute I thought was worthy. And as much as I'd like to have included all of you in this, I felt it was sufficient to at least hit on one particular commissioner who has been around since the dawn of time.
Who has the most has gray hair? Dickie do.
Warner Brothers even?
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to pause this. We have to have sound. This is almost too funny to not have sound, but.
Oh, the parking
Without
meters.
sound, I think we can get it.
The parking meter deal. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's so funny. Cool hand Luke. Cast of parking meters. That's cute. Remember, he did that whole thing, didn't he? Cool hand commissioner.
Anyway.
All right,
It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks. All right, thanks, Jason, for the little bit of humor. Okay, that concludes special orders of business. Again, thank you, everyone, and family that came for your particular person and spoke on their behalf. We'll now move on to the action of the consent calendar. If the clerk can read the calendar.
Now, wait a minute. Whoa,
Oh, I'm sorry, we missed one.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Commissioner Fleisch, you have the floor.
it's been a long tradition of the Board of Commissioners, when you have an outgoing chairman, like we do Chairman Inman, that we present him with a gavel. And on behalf of the board tonight, I intend to do just that. And Chairman Inman, if you'd stand up, we'll get a picture of you accepting the gavel.
All right. Thank you.
Larry has done a wonderful job this year as chairman, and I hope he can control his anger sometimes, as long as he has that in his
Thank you.
Dennis hated it, but that was cool.
First of all, I'd just like to thank the Board of Commissioners and staff and everyone involved in county government for helping me through my 2 years as chairman for 2011 and 2012 and working with me. We had some terrific challenges in front of us over the last 2 years. You know, one of the biggest one was the transition of the new county administrator and the time it took to go out and recruit one, and everyone kind of coming together and working with Dean and Jen in the interim to fill that gap, and then brought Dave in and took a little bit of a learning curve for him to get to know everybody. And we had, you know, during my last 2 years, we had 2 county-wide emergency declarations, believe it or not, and the last one previous to that was in 1970. And as you recall, we had the terrific storm that knocked down all the power lines, and then here recently with the dams. And so I got 2 phone calls. It was like, I have to do what? And they explained it all to me. By statute, the chairman has to declare that emergency. And we had some issues with the budget. We got through them as a team. And, you know, I really feel that we really worked well. We got the business done of the public. We had some differences of opinion about how we should approach issues, but in the end, we got the job done. We got in, we got out, and I think the public was well served by all of us being here representing them in Grand Traverse County. I just thank you for allowing me to serve as your spokesman and your leader, following up with the administrative staff, and back then Dean and Jen on everything that needed to get done on a daily basis. And you remember all the emails and everything being sent out the next day and stuff like that. So it's a big task being chairman, but I really appreciate your confidence in me over the last 2 years. So thank you very much. Okay, now we will move on to the action of the consent calendar.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted receive and file or approval is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. A, receive and file. Number 1, Van Buren resolution opposing the passage of House Bill 5804. Number 2, Department of Veterans Services minutes of October 18th. Number 3, Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency Incorporated minutes of October 18th. Number 4, Community Collaborative minutes of October 25th. Number 5, Department of Human Services Board Pavilions minutes of October 26th. Number 6, Special Board of Public Works minutes of October 31st. Number 7, Central Dispatch Policy Board minutes of November 8th. Number 8, Board of Public Works minutes of November 8th. Number 9, Boardman River Dams Implementation Team minutes of November 8th. Number 10, Commission on Aging minutes of December 4th. Number 11, Area Agency on Aging minutes of December 6th. Referrals? None. Approvals? The Public Health and Safety Committee recommends approval of the following resolutions. Number 12, fiscal year 2012-2013 Comprehensive Planning, Budgeting, and Contracting Amendment Number 1. Number 13, Non-Community Water Supply Renewal Agreement. Number 14, County Jail Medical Service Program. Number 15, On-Call In-Home Contract Services for 2013-2014 Commission on Aging. Number 16, Staffing Plan Correction Health Department. The Resource Management and Administration Committee recommends approval of the following resolutions. Number 17, Employee Assistance Program Contract Renewal for 2013. Number 18, Martin Luther King Training Day 2013. Number 19, Letters of Agreement regarding 2013 health insurance. Number 20, Correction to EDC appointments of December 28, 2011. Number 21, Acceptance of donation from Fox Motors to Soldiers Relief Program. Number 22, Facilities Management approval to purchase cargo van and stake truck. Number 23, Prosecuting Attorney's Office Staffing Plan Amendment. Number 24, Resolution regarding appointments to Traverse Area District Library Board. Number 25, Appointments to boards and committees. Ways and Means Committee recommends approval of the following resolutions. Number 26, Budget Adjustments. Number 27, Designated Facility Agreement, Manistee Landfill. Number 28, Travel Policy Addendum 2013. Number 29, Support for 2% Tribal Grant Applications. Number 30, GIS Funding for Spatial Data. Number 31, Classification Plan, Senior Attorney in charge of Probate and Family Court Services. Number 32, Building Authority Amendment to Articles of Incorporation.
Okay, you've heard the reading of the consent calendar. Does any member of the public wish to have any item pulled from the consent calendar for further discussion? Seeing none, I know that our civil counsel, Bob Cooney, had called me previous to this meeting and has asked that item number 24 be pulled off the consent calendar. He would like to give us a brief report on the evolutions of the Traverse Area District Library Memorandum of Understanding. So we'll pull that off and put Mr. Cooney on there. Does anyone else have an item to be pulled? Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, well, I was going to pull 24 also,
Okay, all right.
but also number 29.
29. Okay. And then we have, as you know, we have a supplemental page, I guess, on our desk regarding that item. Any other item to be pulled off the consent calendar? Hearing none, we need a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented with the exception of item number 24 and 29.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent calendar with the exceptions of numbers 24 and 29.
Okay. All right, moved by Commissioner Gilman, seconded by Commissioner Fleece to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item number 24 and 29. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Henschel?
Yes.
Lemkool?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Fleece?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Gilman?
Yes.
Inman.
Yes. Motion passes. We now go on to items that have been removed from the consent calendar. So we will start with item number 24. That is with regard to the proposed memorandum of understanding, which led into the resolution regarding the Traverse Area District Library Board that the board previously approved in committee and then went to the city commission, and apparently there was an issue there, and then they directed their attorneys to review it, and Bob got involved. So Bob, if you could give us a kind of where we're at report on that particular item and a recommendation from you.
Well, I have met with the attorney for the Tattle Board, Chuck Judson, and City Attorney Lauren Tribalot, and we've discussed some alternative language possibly that might satisfy both the city and the county. I guess, you know, I'll take responsibility. I drafted the proposed memorandum of understanding, and I thought that the intent of all the parties that were meeting had been accomplished by requiring there be 4 people from outside the city, or excuse me, 5 and 2 within the city. But that's the point of contention here, is whether or not the county should include residents of the city and the 2 commission districts that overlap the city. So, but I have discussed some possible alternative language with the other attorneys, and we intend to present a proposed change to the memorandum of understanding sometime in January.
Okay. Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, if I could just comment on it, because obviously I'm not going to be here in January when you take it up again. When this first came up before the RMA meeting, I had several discussions with, the mayor and some city commissioners about it, and asked them if they were okay with it, and basically the feedback I got was, yeah, that was fine. So when it came up to RMA, of course, we just passed it out. And then, afterwards, after that, then suddenly I hear that, people on the city commission are concerned that they can't vote for it, or that it may not be unanimous, and obviously we're going to make this change. We want everyone to be in support of it. I do have a question whether number 2, which says Traverse City residents shall be ineligible for county appointment. As a Traverse City resident, that sort of grates a little that, a county appointment would exclude certain members of the county. So hopefully you'll be addressing that. I do think that is the main point of contention with Traverse City. And by the way, I don't believe that Traverse City has any prohibition against appointing people outside the city to the library board. Having said that, the fact is that this board can appoint whoever it wants to within the strictures. And quite frankly, it has been de facto that we don't appoint anybody in the city to the Tattle board. But I don't think that needs to be written into the regulations.
Right.
And the other thing is quite frankly, I would look really hard at number 4, where you talk about giving preference to member libraries for appointments. I'm not sure that's A, necessary, or B, even a good idea, so that would be my only point going forward.
And that was just to get their recommendation, but couldn't be a member of their library board.
Yeah, but the way it's written, it almost sounds like you end up with, out of 5 appointments, you have 3 designated appointments.
Right.
And that may not be good for Tattle, quite frankly.
And we tried to make those kind of like general guidelines, but Commissioner Gilman.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on number 2. I don't think it's necessary to say that. Whether or not it'll ever happen or otherwise, I think that's definitely a line that probably could be stricken. And it has no negative effect on us, but I think that is a bone of contention with the city commissioner. So I have to agree with Commissioner Richardson on that. I'm not as concerned about number 4. I think that the stakes of the member libraries, given the structure in which they existed prior to the agreement, decades ago, I think it's certainly within their interest to at least have a little more influence, if at all possible. But the underlying reality is this board will nominate who it nominates, and it's going to make sure that it nominates the best qualified candidates to the positions of trustee. So if there were any changes and this board wanted to go forward with it, I don't see where striking number 2 would hurt the process at all.
If I could just comment on that. My concern as an attorney, and a lot of times I review documents that are, 20 years old, and a lot of times we forget about why we put certain provisions in a document. And, that's one of the reasons that provision was there. It could end up that we could have a board with 4 city residents if we simply strike that provision, and 3 people from outside the city. Now, I know that the current board is thinking about making the board geographically diverse. And so that's one of my concerns, and that's why I'm talking to the other attorneys. Ultimately, however, this is a policy decision, and so it's not up to me. All I can do is tell you what the reasons were for the language. So,
Commissioner Wheelock.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that we take the issue in regard to the district library and refer it back to the January RMA meeting.
Okay, it's been moved by Wheelock. Is there a second? Seconded by Thomas. Discussion? Commissioner Fleece and then Commissioner Henschel.
Well, I'd like to remind the board exactly why we started to pursue this and why we need to finish it with what we agreed upon in the past was because the geographic population shift, it would give the county residents better representation on that board, particularly if it's done by district. I would defer to Mr. Cooney as far as number 2. Like I think it was Ross said, you know, the city commission could appoint county residents if they wanted, but I think Mr. Cooney's probably correct. Things get ambiguous as time goes by. Everybody changes, like this board here, for example, 4 are going to be gone. So why did the board do that? So I would have to trust in Mr. Cooney's judgment. I think he's done a pretty good job, at least of my tenure on this board, plus I've known Mr. Cooney from the prosecutor's side for many, many years. And I would hope the board in the future, at your RMA meeting in January, would certainly keep all this in mind and certainly take Mr. Cooney's recommendations into advice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Henschel.
I just wanted to speak briefly to some of the comments in the community about the current appointments made by the county, a large number of them coming from the peninsula. I sat on those committees that interviewed the prospective appointees, and we had appointed purpose to diversify the geography of those appointments. The simple fact was we had stellar candidates coming from the peninsula. Something about that area of the community at that point in time, those were the people that are coming that had wonderful experience and credentials, and they were already interested, already coming to the meetings. They were just wonderful candidates. And it's kind of some information for the next board, that when we diversify these appointments, we have to work a little harder to get people to apply from the areas, and I think that's one of the reasons we put member libraries in to help the recruiting process. Maybe member libraries will look for people and say, hey, you should go apply for that, because in the past we've had a lot of people from Peninsula and almost nobody from other areas of the county, and that's the reason the Peninsula is so heavily represented on the Tattle Board right now. It was nothing on purpose. There was no agenda there. It was just that's where the really good candidates were coming from.
I'd like to personally thank Commissioner Fleece and Commissioner Gilman for serving on that committee and assisting us, along with Bob Cooney and some of the member library board members that had chose to attend in trying to draft, and along with the Mayor Estes, to try to draft what we think was a good document. It apparently needs a little bit more tweaking, but there was a tremendous amount of time and effort in trying to put that thing together, because we started that earlier in the year. And so I want to thank both those members for your help. And also, just a piece of information that with the potential of incoming Chairman Lemkool for next year, it was footnoted, I guess, that in the memorandum of understanding that we would not have a county commissioner representative on the on the library board, Traverse Area District Library Board, and that Commissioner Gilman would just continue his term, which we all agreed. So we think that's a good move. That's part of the memorandum of understanding. And so I just want to make that disclosure to Commissioner Gilman that he's going to continue to serve out his term. All right, anything else for that item? Because we have a motion on the floor to defer to the January RMA meeting. Anything else? All in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? Passes. All right. Moving on to item number 29, Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, this regards the tribal grant applications, and just a little background for the public. This is the first time in the 4 years that I've been serving that we have not reviewed the applications at all. Just a list was presented to be forwarded on to the tribe for their consideration. Because of some things that happened this last summer, we now have a situation where in order for Grand Traverse County to be the fiscal agent, the grants have to be determined to be lawful county expenditures, and those are reviewed by our civil counsel with the prosecuting attorney's office to make sure that standard is met. For whatever reason, one of the applied for grants, which was actually the smallest grant applied for, which was a grant for $12,551 by Planned Parenthood to engage in some abstinence education through some of the local school districts, was struck at the RMA meeting. Or actually, it was Ways and Means, excuse me. All of the other grants were forwarded. The biggest change is that there are somewhere, I did a very, very cursory, rough calculation, but somewhere around $2.8 million requested by Grand Traverse County of this 2% money, and the rest, much smaller amounts, by nonprofits. I would say the issue is not whether Planned Parenthood makes the grade or not for us. The real issue is whether nonprofits in general should even be part of this, and that's an issue we've been discussing. So I would like to make the motion, if we are going to forward these grants to the tribe, that we add back in Planned Parenthood $12,551.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to add back the Planned Parenthood application. Is there a second? Is there anyone here from Planned Parenthood? All right, I'll allow comment at this time. And we'll go back to the second after you speak.
Jim Carruthers, 218 West 11th Street. I sit on the Planned Parenthood Development Committee, and I'm a past employee of Planned Parenthood, and I'm a supporter of Planned Parenthood. And I'm here to speak to you about the 2% tribal funds. As Mr. Commissioner Richardson did say, if you're going to deny one nonprofit, you need to deny them all. It's getting frustrating coming here year after year after year with certain commissioners' concerns with one organization, that is Planned Parenthood, who is trying to provide abstinence-based education. Education that is supporting healthy relationships and helping to reduce the amount of bullying that's going in our schools amongst our young people. In 2012, Planned Parenthood successfully reached 1,300 students with this information, arming them with the skills and the ability to ward off sexually transmitted diseases, unwanted pregnancies, and bullying. It's really frustrating that certain people in this community don't want our kids to grow up safe and without harm. It's an issue. We know that. We know that certain commissioners don't like Planned Parenthood, and that's why this is coming to the forefront. The City Commission has always supported the tribal grants when they came by us. They were basically just pass-throughs, and I would support it again. Teen pregnancy in our area is at a high rate, and sexually transmitted infections continue to provide challenges to the Northern Michigan community. Planned Parenthood programs are out there to prevent these issues, to keep our children safe, to keep our children knowledgeable to how to be safe, not to get pregnant, not to get sick, not to get diseases. It's ridiculous that we're trying to limit a healthcare organization that doesn't even provide the service that most of the commissioners who are against this don't like. Our Planned Parenthood in Northern Michigan does not provide abortion services. So they provide health services to women in need, to the underserved population, to the youth, and to the community. It's ridiculous that we fight people that want to keep people healthy and in good standards in our community. People who go to Planned Parenthood would not otherwise get health care if we didn't have Planned Parenthood. They're the people that fall through the cracks. They're the ones that don't have health insurance. Every day I worked there, I would look in the waiting room and see women that would not be getting health services if Planned Parenthood was not there. This is a very important organization. It's a strong organization, and the conservative powers that be that want to fight it can keep on fighting it. They've been fighting it for years, but we're going to fight back. And it's really frustrating that the anti-choice groups have nothing to do with saving our kids. Planned Parenthood are the ones on the street. They are the front line. They're helping these kids. They're helping the people of this town. And it's really shameful that we fight this organization continually. Yes, we live in a conservative little town in northern Michigan and western Michigan, and some people have a problem with that. But this is a valid organization. It's strong, it's a needed service, and it's ridiculous to keep fighting it. I strongly support Planned Parenthood, and I hope that you will change your ways on this. It's ridiculous to come here year after year and fight for them. Thank you.
All right. I'm only allowing public comment at this time to see if any commissioner wishes to do a second or not. Does any other member of the public wish to speak on this item? State your name and address for us.
Jerry Leroy, 885 East South Airport Road, Traverse City, Michigan, East Bay Township. This is first I've really heard of them being involved, but as a taxpayer, I believe that what they are proposing that they take care of belongs with the parents. I am really getting tired of commissions and different governmental groups forming some other group to take care of what is the responsibility of the parent. I don't like nanny states or nanny counties or whatever. That belongs with the parent. Planned Parenthood didn't exist when I was growing up, and I learned the things that were the dangers from my parents and from my church. And I think that's where it still belongs. And so I really resent my taxpayer dollars going for an organization that I think is overstepping their bounds and taking the responsibility away from the parents.
Okay, thank you. Any other member of the public wish to speak? Hearing none, close public comment. There is a motion on the floor by Commissioner Richardson to add Planned Parenthood to the tribal grant allocation. Is there a second? Hearing no second, motion dies. Commissioner Henschel.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the resolution as recommended by the Ways and Means Committee regarding the December 2012 2% tribal grant applications.
Which is the new page 73, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, it's moved by Commissioner Henschel, seconded by Commissioner Fleece, to move forward with the list of recommendation amounts to the tribe, excluding Planned Parenthood. Is there discussion? Commissioner Wheelock.
Well, just, I guess, a little bit of history. I'll keep it real short because most of you have heard me talk about this before. For 10 years or a little longer, we've been dealing with 2% money coming from Grand Traverse Band, and it comes out semi-annually. The consent agreement between Governor Engler and the Grand Traverse Band specifies that that money needs to go to the local units of government to make up for lost revenue on that tax-free land and services and infrastructure required by their development and process. I've been pretty vocal for a long time that we weren't doing it right. And, you know, recently we got some information from the Department of Treasury and some court actions that says, guess what? We weren't doing it right. For a long time, we basically rubber stamped these lists. We brought them in, sometimes, some years we brought them in and actually ran them through and they told us about their program. Other times, we didn't even do that. We just took all of the applications forwarded to the Grand Traverse Band. The saving grace in this thing is in 2013, we will see a new compact between the state of Michigan and the Grand Traverse Band out of Chippewa Indians. I feel compelled to recognize the very good that the Grand Traverse Band has done in our community. They've done a lot of great things for nonprofit organizations. They've done a lot of great things for the public entities in our community, including roads in Grand Traverse County. But the fact remains that the 2% agreement and the consent agreement regarding the distribution of funds from video gaming had very specific things that money could be used for. And we have not been following that consent agreement, and there will be a change in the way that process happens with the new consent agreement. I can't believe that the new compact will allow it to continue to be done this way. This is the only tribe in the state of Michigan that distributes money this way. They all have to distribute money. They're required by the state to distribute the 2% of the revenue from video gaming, but they are the only ones that distribute the money this way.
Any other discussion on the motion on the floor? Everybody understand the motion on the floor? All right, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Limko?
No.
Richardson?
No.
Thomas?
Yep.
Fleece?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes.
Gilman?
Yes.
Henschel?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes. Okay, we have 2 nays. Motion passes. That concludes the items pulled off the consent calendar. We will now move to the administrator's report. Dean?
The first item are some additional budget amendments. I say additional because there were some that were presented at Ways and Means, but they start with the first page are increases to the Board of Commissioners budget to cover per diem and travel. We actually budgeted a little too light in those line items. I'm using funds from your contingency account to cover that anticipated or estimated shortfall. The second one on the bottom of the first page is to cover the personal property discovery services. We discussed this issue at Ways and Means last month. This is the balance after we accrued $40,000 of that cost to the 2011 year. On the top of the second page, I'm looking at the Veterans Affairs Department. If you remember, we approved a staffing increase for the last quarter of 2012, and this is covering that cost and some additional costs that I'm anticipating in service of our veterans. Again, that's covered with the contingency in our general fund budget. Those 3 adjustments do not increase the general fund budget. It's simply transferring funds from one department to another. The final budget amendment on the bottom of the second page, if you recall, in June we approved some additional work for the circuit court regarding the document imaging. That was an approximate cost of $22,000, and I had thought that we would have sufficient funds within that budget to cover that, but because of some higher attorney costs and data processing charges related to the document imaging, I want to recommend this budget amendment to make sure that we're not over in that cost center. So I would ask for your approval on these budget amendments.
Okay, Commissioner Gilman.
Move to approve these budget amendments.
Support. Moved by Commissioner Gilman, seconded by Commissioner Richardson to approve the additional budget adjustment items under cover memo by Dean Bott, December 26, 2012. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Spending money?
Yeah, let's do a roll call vote, please. Thank you.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Fleece?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Gilman?
Yes.
Henschel?
No.
Limko?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes, motion passes with 1 nay. All right, moving forward, this is an item that came to us by, I guess just by notification of mail, and I asked Administrator Benda to look into it and give them an administrative report, but it was an organization that was supporting veterans. And I asked them to look into the organization and the status of where they are at promoting this thing nationally. So if you could help us with that, Dave?
Yes, it is a Department of Defense agency, and you can see what their purpose is. They basically are supporting the Guard and trying to encourage others to do so. They have a statement that's on the back side of this memo that is actually what they've asked this board to approve, and they've asked many cities, counties, townships, jurisdictions all over the state and all over the country have signed this. If you go out to their website, you actually have to do drop down and get, you get this long list of the agencies in Michigan that have supported this. So it's just to show your support for the Guard, and that's what they've requested of you.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Lemko, seconded by Commissioner Richardson?
No.
Henschel. All right. Discussion. Commissioner Wheelock.
Guess the only thing is, I don't know that this is on a deadline thing, because 4 of the 8 of us sitting here tonight won't be here next month. I'd like to forward this, or just have this come back on health and safety or RMA next month. I think if it's a county action, I'm not a fan of lame duck politics, just not.
Not really
I
spending money.
I see governments pass all kinds of legislation.
We're not.
Pool off the agenda there.
Okay, that's one comment. Any other commissioners have any other comments? So, Commissioner Lemko, Commissioner Henschel.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry that after sitting 6 years with Wheelock, that he would have an opinion like that. We're not an unduck yet, we're just a lame duck.
We ain't dead yet.
It seems pretty non-controversial.
It is. It's just if you're going to have a public stance for the county government to do, it seems foolish to do it 3 days before the seated commission leaves office.
We're still in charge until then.
We got the new guys here, we can have them come do a comment.
What's the pleasure?
I have of you, Commissioner Wheelock, if we only have 3 days left, why did we make any decisions when we started out 3 days after we took office?
That's fine.
Same difference.
I just mentioned it for discussion.
Okay. Any other discussion on the item? Commissioner Lemko.
Yeah, the reason why I support this is the fact that we had discussed this a couple of months ago, that we at the Grand Terrace County would like to give preferential treatment to any veteran who wants to come in and apply for a job. And I really think that this is just another piece that allows us to let the community know that we do support our veterans as they return, and we want them to provide jobs. And I would hope that any business in Grand Terrace County would give preferential treatment to any veteran coming back from service. We thank them for their service.
All right. Commissioner Henschel and then Dave Benda.
I will just say that having the U.S. Coast Guard Air Station Traverse City right here in Traverse City not only increases the safety but also the economy of our area, and I'm sure lots of cities in their service area would love to have that base in their city, but it's right here in Grand Traverse County, and we absolutely should support the Coast Guard. We wouldn't want to lose them.
Okay, Benda, then Richardson.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that this doesn't require us to change any policies that we don't currently already have. We already support veterans through the federal act, and that's all it's asking us to really do with this resolution. Otherwise support the Guard.
Okay, Commissioner Richardson.
Well, I was just going to say, I think we're sort of missing the point. This is about the Guard and Reserve.
Yep.
And speaking as an employer who has had employees who were in the Army Reserve in the past, it is sort of a big deal when you have an employee who suddenly is going to be gone for a while, a few months or a few weeks or in some cases a year or more. So it is important that
Well,
we encourage it as much as
As late
possible.
as last month, we had a corrections officer in here that has been deployed 3 times, 4 times. You know, we had a DPW director that was deployed 3 or 4 times.
Right.
You know, and I understand that, and I certainly support that. You know, I have a young man that works for me that was in Afghanistan for 13 months. You know, I held a job for him, and when he comes back, he's back to work. But the fact is that, you know, I think we all support the Guard and we support the concept. You know, it's just, I just didn't know if this was the time for this resolution, but, you know, I'll support the resolution if that's what you want to do. I just, you know, thought that there should be discussion about whether or not it was something we should do tonight or if it's something we should do next week.
Okay, any other discussion? We have a motion on the floor to support the motion or the resolution as presented. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yep.
Fleece?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes.
Gilman?
Yes.
Henschel?
Yes.
Lemko?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. And then we come back to the claims summary. Dean?
You should all have a copy of our December 2012 claims. They're approximately equal to last month's. I'm asking for your approval on 2 amounts. The first amount is $6,677,132.90.
So moved.
All right, we have a
Board.
Okay, we have a motion by Dick, seconded by Fleece to approve the first amount, which is $6,677,132.90. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Fleece?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes.
Gilman?
Yes.
Henschel?
Yes.
Lemko?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Inman?
Yes. Now we need a motion to appropriation for Roy's General Store.
There ain't no way I'm
Mr.
touching
Chairman, I would like to proudly announce that we're going to pay Roy's General Store $4.16.
All right, motion by Wheelock,
Support.
seconded by Richardson. Discussion.
Is this different than the one before? or-
Yeah, it's a separate.
It's probably a different spark plug.
No, I mean,
What it is.
Oh, is this a different one than we did before?
yeah, because we did not know about this amount, right?
Yeah.
This isn't the same one, right?
It's restitution, it's
This
every
is a
month.
restitution payment, but it needs to be
This is scheduled
separately
payments of
approved.
$4.16 a
Where
month.
he makes all his money.
We're a couple hundred years down the road.
All right,
Restitute.
I would hope that somewhere along the way, Mr. Cooney and our new civil counsel can help us get rid of this problem so we don't have to monkey with it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the allocation of $4.16 at Roy's General Store. Roll call vote, please.
Wheelock?
Yes.
Gilman?
Yes.
Henschel?
Abstain, please.
Lemko?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yeah.
Fleece?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes, motion passes.
Thanks,
Does that
guys.
conclude the administrator's report?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to unfinished business. As you know, I reported at the beginning of the meeting that that item was approved 8-0 with the recommendation to change Mr. Benda's contract based on Jen Seaman's original recommendation memorandum was the motion in committee. That was forwarded to Mr. Cooney's office in preparation of a contract. And there apparently is some law that we have to comply with, and I'll let Mr. Cooney have the floor.
Well, I asked that it be removed from the consent calendar simply because some of the details had changed from what was approved at RMA. Primarily, the term by state law, the maximum this board can commit to is 1 year. And I don't think Mr. Benda questions that anyway. And that's because it's being approved after August. A new board could come in and approve a longer contract if they wanted to, up to 3 years.
So the first quarter, the new board can come in and just approve a new 3-year contract based on the same terms and conditions?
They could, yeah.
Okay, all right.
As long as it's before August of an even-numbered year.
When I get done, hopefully if I run for state rep, I will change that law.
Other, yeah.
It's actually not a bad law.
It makes sense, so you're not sticking the next board with.
Yeah, I know. With a short.
Yeah.
Short
The next board with you.
Other than that, Jen and I had just nailed down some of the details, and we wanted the board to be able to review the contract. And
So Is your recommendation, based on the previous board's action, to approve all the negotiated items back in May, originally presented, recommended by Jen Seaman, only the contract would be for 1 year?
Yes,
Okay.
except that some of the items in Jen's contract didn't completely spell out what we should do. For example, in Section 5D, there's a $5,000 deferred compensation amount, and I felt we should specify whether that is
That should be prorated.
earned upfront or prorated over the course of a year, and we put in that it was prorated over the course of the year. So there were just some details
That's prorated.
in Jen's memo
That
that
makes
didn't
sense.
spell out those sort of details.
So you're happy with the way it's drafted in here now, Bob?
Well, I believe it accomplishes the intent of the board as indicated at the RMNA meeting.
Okay. Commissioner Wheelock?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to pass the amended contract for County Administrator Dave Benda as outlined and provided in our packet by Civil Council.
Support. All right, moved by Commissioner Wheelock, seconded by Commissioner Henschel to approve the new amended contract for County Administrator Dave Benda, with the understanding that the new board taking on first of the year can extend that contract up to 3 years. Okay, is there any other discussion? Commissioner Gilman?
Yeah, just so you understand, I mean, as I was a little more on the fence in our earlier discussion, I have had some correspondence from some constituents who argued that, you know, they felt that we're all being paid too much. Having, you know, I explained to them that, you know, that no, we are not all making over $100,000 a year,
Thank
which
you.
is what his claim was.
We were?
But the one of my original concerns was, of course, going into the negotiations, you know, going forward, it's very hard sometimes going into those negotiations if it appears that we're being overly generous at any given point. And I really, thinking about it, I don't think we're being overly generous. I don't think that's my personal objection at all. I think it's an appropriate scale, and I think that if we want quality help, we're going to be paying for quality help. So I did agree with it, and as I said, you know, I'll enjoy a little crow with Commissioner Fleece, but I just want that to be clear that may come as a result of this. There might be a concern about that. There might be people who think that there is some overcompensation. I would like to say that this is a very professional crew here, and certainly this board has done its due diligence in selecting leadership for that, for this particular organization, and I don't at all feel bad for the contract going forward in this way. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Gilman. Anybody else? Commissioner Fleece?
I'll just stand by my comments made at Ways and Means. I think Mr. Bend is very deserving of the employment agreement we're about to vote on. And I'm glad to see Mr. Gilman enjoying that crow with me.
I have a comment, just that I'd like to thank Bob Cooney and Jen Seaman for the extra time and effort they put into our recommendation and researching it and getting back the contract with the suggested changes so everyone can review those. I am disappointed that, you know, we're required to do a 1 year, but I am confident that we can bring this for the remaining board members and the new board members coming in, that we can address this in the first quarter of next year and get Mr. Benda his formal 3-year contract with the same terms and conditions. And that way, you know, he has a commitment from Grand Traverse County and we have a commitment from him. So,
one last thing I'd like to comment on, and this is on a personal note. I was impressed with the way our administrator handled the particular situation a couple of weeks ago. There are a couple of us commissioners who are aware of what went on with regard to a couple of animals left in our facility over a weekend. He took his own time, he went down, he tried his keys, he couldn't find the keys, he hunted down some keys, he found the right keys, and he went back and he took care of a situation where animals needed their medication. We had owners of a couple of dogs that were in absolute fear for the health and safety of their pets, and they were calling around trying to contact as many commissioners as they could, and at some point they did reach our administrator, and he handled it directly and frankly quite appropriately.
Wow, thank you very much. Dave, appreciate that.
Besides everything else, he has to put up with us.
All right, we all ready for a vote? Okay, everybody understand the motion on the floor? All right, we're going to approve the contract as presented. It is a one-year contract, and it's prorated in terms of some line items. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Gilman,
Yes.
Henschel,
Yes.
Lemko,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yep.
Fleece,
Yes.
Wheelock,
Yes, ma'am.
Inman.
Yes, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
Yes.
can I move that the subject of extending the administrator's contract to a 3-year contract be put on the January board agenda?
Yes, you may.
Support that.
Second, moved by Henschel, second by Fleece, to refer this contract to the January RMA committee. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I also need a motion by the board authorizing the chairman to sign the now approved amended contract. Please.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the chairman of the board signing Mr. Benda's contract as presented.
Okay.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right, thank you. Okay, that concludes unfinished business. Is there any new business? No? Second, public comment. Any member of the public wish to speak? Yes, ma'am, come on up. And by the way, thank you for staying for the whole meeting, everyone.
For staying awake.
Good evening again, Elizabeth Webster, 926 Avenue D. And I would just like to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you. I thanked Jason Gilman specifically earlier, but each and every one of you, having watched the Wednesday meetings all year long, I feel as if I've gotten to know you, and don't be surprised if I walk up to you on the street and say, "Hi, Larry."
Yeah.
"Hi, Dave."
Right.
And I have a lot of respect for the effort you put in, and I look forward to next year's meetings.
All right, great. Thanks for coming
Thank
tonight.
you.
Anyone else wish to speak under public comment? Charlie. Commissioner Rennie
Are you
elect.
scared yet?
Is this on? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Name and address, please.
My name is Charlie Rennie. I'm the Commissioner-elect, District 7, Grand Traverse County. I live at 4201 Wadsworth Road in Paradise Township, and it is paradise out there. I would like to take a moment to personally thank each board member for your service and also your patient encouragement and support during this last election cycle. Being new at this, it has been both inspirational and humbling. I have also been warmly received by the constituents and local officials in the new District 7, and I would like to thank the entire administration staff at the Governmental Center for all their help and professionalism. I look forward to serving on the county board beginning January 2nd, 2013. Thank you very much, and I hope everyone has a wonderful new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate your
Charlie.
comments. Any other member of the public wish to speak at this time? Dr. Dan, do you feel compelled to speak tonight?
Feel brave.
Since your counterpart already spoke.
Dr. Dan Lathrop, 9310 Peninsula Drive.
County Commissioner-elect.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I hope I can do as good a job as you guys have done. You're an inspiration to me. I'm looking forward to having the older members, I don't mean older members, the members that have been here longer, including the older ones, to mentor me, and I'm going to put my heart into this. And those of you that know me know I will. So, God bless you and Happy New Year. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Any other member of the public wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, we will close public comment. We will move on to Commissioner Committee reports. Anyone have anything to update? I have one item. I think you'll be very pleased. I don't know the content yet, but administration just received today in the mail from Al, hope I pronounced his last name right, the tribal chairman, Padashianen. And enclosed is your government proposed memorandum of understanding approved today by motion of the tribal council. Wow. The purpose of the memorandum of understanding is to provide a mechanism for which the county, township, and Grand Traverse County Band can work together to address matters of mutual concerns. So we will put this on the agenda. Why don't we do this? Why don't I have a motion to put this on the RMA agenda for January 2013?
So be it.
Okay. Moved by Lemkool. Support. Seconded by Henschel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed. This is huge. We've been working on this for 10 years. And I'd like to thank the tribe for sending this off to us. Any other commissioner reports? Yes, Commissioner Thomas.
I don't have a report, but I would like those of us that are going to be here to start thinking about maybe we should offer the schools to go back to have liaison officers in the school, since everything that's been happening in this country lately. And, we supported it for years, and then they saw fit not to support it, and that was where the end came. But boy, things like what happened in Newtown there, that's not this country.
Right.
So it's just something to think about.
All right. Address that the first part of the year. Anybody else have any committee reports? Commissioner Henschel.
We had the meeting of Northern Lakes Community Mental Health this afternoon. Got moved due to the snowstorm, so I've been in meetings all day. But the federal government saw fit to send a mandate down the line through the funding that they control through Medicaid and Medicare, that we have to add another layer of bureaucracy to our mental health system. There's something called a PIHP, Patient In-Home Health Care, and they have informed us that we can no longer handle the PIHP portion at the CMH level. We have to have a regional entity. So we're getting together with 5 CMHs to put together this another layer of bureaucracy that's going to be contracting with the home health care agencies, nursing homes and small healthcare homes. And then those contracts will be kind of triangulated through our existing CMH. So we still have the same amount of overhead and bureaucracy on the CMH level, and now we also have an added huge layer with 21 counties coming together to form this entity. It's absolutely ridiculous. It looks like it's going to come together about 2014 in the beginning. Between now and then, all the agreements need to be signed over the next year between the CMHs. A copy of the forming documents will be on file at all the county clerk offices. Doesn't have to be approved by the county commissions, but just be aware of just more bureaucracy and coming from the federal side of things. Interesting point is of course, whenever you form a new agency, there's contention about who gets how many seats on the board and whatnot. And the model they're currently looking at is a Senate style, where some CMHs have 1 or 2 counties, some have 5 or 6 like us, and every CMH will have equal votes, no matter how many constituents you represent or not. I disagree with that model, but it's currently where it's at in discussions, and there'll be tons of time wasted in building a new level of bureaucracy.
Okay. Any other commissioner committee reports? Commissioner Flees.
Well, I just have a comment. I have to agree with the Vice President of the NRA. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. But the liaison officers are not, shouldn't be in the schools for that position. In my opinion, we need to address things, as Commissioner Henschel has, to community mental health. If you look at the perpetrators of the crimes we've had, the majority of them have some form of mental illness that's not being treated appropriately because the mental health code in this country is in shambles. And what really galls me as a taxpayer in Grand Traverse County and as a commissioner tonight is for $115,000, like Commissioner Thomas said, the school said, no, we don't want those liaison officers. We're not willing to participate. The county's portion is a heck of a lot more for 3 officers than $115,000. And until the schools ante up, I would hope this board would say absolutely not. And it's not on our back. You got a Superintendent Cousins saying, we don't want guns in the school. And I presume he means cops too. In fact, early years with the liaison, and I don't know about the later years, but the liaison officers didn't have guns. And it's kind of like our security at the court systems. Unarmed, uniformed, so they're a target. You might as well have a toothless dog there. Thank you.
All right, any other commissioner reports? Commissioner Lundquist.
Yeah, I would just like to say thanks for the 4 commissioners that are leaving. I've enjoyed working with each of you, Ross and Rob and Jason and Larry. It's been a real pleasure to have you part of our commissioners for the last couple of years. And, good luck to everything you're doing. And I'm also looking forward to the new commissioners coming on board. Charles and Dan, we're looking forward to working with all of you. And it's going to be a great year for next year, I think. We're going to have a great board. And so, Bonnie, we appreciate your work also and what you've done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Anyone else? Commissioner Wheelock.
Just 2 announcements. No public health and safety meeting on January 2nd. 8 o'clock organizational meeting in the morning on January 2nd.
Yep, 8 a.m. Yep. All right, move on to notices, announcements, anything in addition to what's already been said. I have one particular item, but it's not a government issue. It's the county commissioner's own money that's under the flower fund, so I would suggest
We all got emails this afternoon.
After we adjourn, we can talk about what we want to do with that money. We don't have a closed session tonight, okay? So I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Support. All right, moved by Wheelock, seconded by Henschel to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye. Happy New Year.
All right, now I need everyone to sit down. We need to talk briefly about the flower fund.
You didn't give me a chance to vote no on adjournment.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Herb?